Welcome everybody to the main event. This is the main event 149, and we're very fortunate to have Alexandra Garcia Brillembourg with us today. Somebody that I've wanted to have on here for a long time. She and I have been, I guess we have to say, distant friends, because we've not had a lot of communication, but through LinkedIn we have. From the very beginning, we both started back in July of 22 using Midjourney version 2. The thing is, she's just been doing all kinds of wonderful stuff, but the thing that she's known most for is all of these developments of alphabets that are just phenomenal. And she was doing that from the very beginning and with much effort to get it to happen to begin with. So I've asked her to give us a presentation of the history of her creating letterforms, and we'll go through that. But first I'm going to go through the AI news. As usual, the first of the year, we're getting all kinds of news. I've actually got 12 items there. Some of this isn't news, but things I want you to see. But the big news, of course, this week was Kling 3.0 and 3.0 Omni with it. It is currently well deserving of being called the best animation program that's out there at the moment. There's a link there for that. Grok is now in Artist AI. Our friend Eugenio Ferrero in Milan always posts all kinds of wonderful news items all week long. I've only put in one of these, but I again urge people to follow Eugenio. But the post that I put in of his is about real-time virtual try-ons for online shopping, where you can see what you would look like in the garments before you buy it. Very interesting. Of course, the other big news is Claude 4.6 was announced yesterday, and I have a news item from CNN about that, but it also talks about the stock market jitters continuing to drive stocks down. I think it was as much as 7% yesterday, but already today the stock market is trying to recover from the losses of the week, so it's up right at the moment. Also, Deanna Leonard posted about the Claude update, and she asked the program what the 5 key updates were, and it gave her a list of things, and that's in her posting. And speaking of Deanna, she is offering a free masterclass, AI as your design assistant, and turning it into your most productive collaborator. That's a free thing, and you can take a look at it. She's not got it exactly scheduled yet, but look at the thing and she'll keep you involved. Speaking of master classes, Toya Perry is hosting a master class in art directing AI images. Sherry Horowitz reports reposts a well-produced fun video using Runway 4.5. I don't know, Erica, if Chris showed this yesterday, but this is the one where the flying saucer lands, and he's basically out looking for his girlfriend or his wife or whatever. And
Yes.
it's a funny one. Michael Uman posted that's a whole lot of debt about tech companies showing signs of distress as they run out of money for AI infrastructure. And that's part of the reason why the stock market's been jittery. But it's literally these companies who are getting billions and billions of dollars to be doing what they're doing are also getting billions of dollars into debt. We're just going to have to see what happens. But the problem is the amount of money that needs to be spent to build the infrastructure to run these massive programs. June Chow posted about don't just prompt, start building anchors. That was an interesting post that she did. Topeka Grover has a new educational app she developed using vibe coding, and she explains about doing that. And it's an educational program for kids. She's been doing a whole lot of inventive creating of things. And lastly, Eric David provided a link to Claude's terrific Super Bowl ads, and I've added a link to Mother, the ad agency that created the commercials, so that you can see 2 more of the Super Bowl spots. This is spots for Claude. So that's the news items that we've got in the comment section of the page of today's event. So we're going to let Alexandra talk to us in a few minutes, but I want to show you something from way back when, a little history of early days of working in Midjourney. That like I mentioned, she had started right around the same time as I did. This is something I did with Midjourney 3. It was done in October, and what I wanted to do was I had done a post showing some sci-fi spaceships flying over a abandoned megatropolis. I looked at this and it just knew there was a story there, so I decided to make an episode about this. I will show you what this is. So this was done like a serial kind of a thing, and I decided that I was going to, without telling them, have some of the people that are on LinkedIn working with Midjourney to be part of the cast. The reason I'm showing you this is because Alexandria was one of the cast members, and in an appropriate role. I should explain one of the people, Eric DeHaze, was a very good friend of mine, actually the guy that got me started doing 3D illustration. He and I worked together at Robert A. Becker, as both of us freelancing there. Then I also want to mention that I'm the person telling this story here. The character was created by using one of my pictures of myself from my wedding. So if I look younger and don't have a beard and everything, that's because that's the picture from way back 58 years ago. Anyways, here's the story. The Abandoned Megatropolis, Episode 2, The Explorers on the First Floor. In Episode 1, a group of explorers discovered a huge, completely abandoned and decaying megatropolis. Searching by air and the ground, they find no clues as to why things are as they are. Then the captain located one building with lights on. The story continues. We were ordered by Captain Turvon to join him at his location. The team picked me up in my sector, and within minutes we were on the ground by the only building that had lights on. We're a research expedition, so most of the team are scientists that are considered tops in their field. Captain Rand Turvon is both genetically and cybernetically enhanced to be a military fighting machine. He doesn't joke around. In fact, I don't know if I've ever seen him smile, but he knows the job we have at hand, and he's determined that we'll succeed. My name is Biggie Renwald. I'm actually Albert, but I've been called Biggie ever since I shot up to 6'6" in high school. The captain is the only one who doesn't call me Biggie, but then he calls everybody by their last name. My job is to keep a total video and audio record of the expedition. Eric DeHaze, Chief of Security, is only one besides Captain that is still military. I was in the military for a time. Eric and I are old friends, having served in the Becker Wars together. The man saved my life more than once. Mel Hartz is a historian. I've never seen anyone who loves everything old and new and everybody like she does. She just plain loves life. True Adams is a team's archaeologist. I don't know her IQ, but she is brilliant and totally analytical, but you'd never know it by the way she likes to joke around and have fun. Alexandra Brillembourg, a linguist, specializes in intergalactic languages, who can speak more languages than I can count, and has probably studied every letter form that's ever been written. Last to leave the ship is Brian Sykes, our science officer. He's a wizard with everything scientific and technical. He's a real problem solver and a great asset to the team. The captain barked out his usual gruff voice. "What's taking you so long, Syke? You're usually prompt." Very punny. "I'm here now. Let's get on with it." "Before we go in, Brillembourg, can you make out what that sign on the building says?" asked the captain. Alexandria looks at the sign intensely, and a blue aura radiates from her. A moment later, she concludes, "I've never seen any language like that." "All right then," said the captain, "time to go inside." The inside is dark and dusty, and the floor is strewn with rubble as the outside. With the lights from our flashlights, we could see it was some sort of lobby, maybe a hotel or office building. We searched for clues as to what kind of building it was and how long it had been in this condition. Speaking out to the group, Brian examines what appears to be a reception desk. It's truly strange. This looks like a modern computer, but the readings I'm getting says that it's around 500 years old. "I know," True responded back to Brian. "All my readings around the room say everything is 500 years old." Mel called out, "You have to come and see this. I don't know how this could be 500 years old. Look at this magazine cover. It's Captain Turvan. It's got to be." Alexandria is the first of the group to join Mel, and it's that same unreadable language. What the heck is going on here? True rushes over and proceeds to take a reading of the magazine. This too, everything in the room reads 500 years old, including this magazine. "Captain Turvan, we need to talk with you immediately. You've got some real explaining to do about this." "Is this you on this cover? How is that possible?" "That's not me. I've never been here before, and I'm certainly not 500 years old. Can't read the text, but the picture seems to imply that you might be responsible for all the destruction around here. Who are you really?" "I don't get it any more than you. It must be some sort of deep fake or something. I've never been here before, and I certainly didn't destroy this place." Eric suddenly interrupts the cross-examination, shouting out about his discovery. "Everyone, I found a stairway to upstairs." From out of nowhere, a small round object started bouncing down the steps. Eric shouts out, "Take cover! It may be a grenade!" "Is it a grenade? Who threw it down the stairs? Who or what is upstairs? Is Captain Turvan more than 500 years old? Is he responsible for the destruction of the megatropolis? Will these questions and more be answered in Episode 3? The Abandoned Megatropolis, Episode 3, coming soon. So that was my poking fun at Midjourney's unreadable words. And who else would be logical to be able to read this would be Alexandria, but she couldn't even read them. So the thing that's interesting about that she's in there with that is less than 4 months from when we started, Alexandria has already built a reputation for herself of creating letter forms using these early versions of Midjourney. And as she can explain to you with a great deal of effort. Yes, Eric?
It was just so refreshing to see images from version 3 again. They had such a great painterly look, and now everything is about realism. And sometimes, we kind of get spoiled. Do you ever go back to previous versions of Midjourney to achieve a particular look you're trying to achieve that you can't get in the later models?
I haven't tried to do that, but I did post something this week with some images I created with version 2 in August of 22, because this week is the UN's week about interfaith cooperation. And what I created back then was a massive interior where supposed to be a sanctuary and a place where people of all different religions could come and worship God together in their own ways, but in the same building. And that was that particular post. Of course, everything was brand new back then, but that particular post had over 1,000 likes or loves or whatever. So I posted that again because it was in keeping with this week's theme. The one thing I can tell you, Eric, about why I didn't go into version episode 3, I spent hours of Photoshop work just for that lobby scene. The people had to be pieced together from different pieces. I had a background there, but I had to place each of the people into the scene. And I had literally so much Photoshop work involved in that whole thing. Eric diving to take cover at the end, I could not get the program to have him be in that position. And so what I ended up doing was I have a 3D program with posable figures, and I actually posed the a male figure in that flying to take cover position, and then use that as the body to have him be diving like that. Tremendous amount of work involved in that thing, and as you people know from many other things I've done, I do spend plenty of time putting these things together. Sometimes ridiculously long times to do it, but that's that's what I do, and I don't want to present something unless it was done well. But speaking of doing things well, Alexandria, I'm going to turn the floor over to you and let you talk about your background and then going into your history of alphabets.
Well, actually, everything is in there, but just thank you so much for inviting me, of course, and to be here. It's a pleasure. And for those who doesn't know me, yes, I'm Alexandra. I work with Midjourney at the beginning in the 2022, and I'm from Venezuela, and I'm currently living in Canada, and I've been living here for 15 years now. But I can tell you more about me with my presentation because everything is in there anyway. So this is the story of my visual journey, how years of working across print, motion, VFX, and 3D led me into AI, and more specifically into using typography as my main creative language. For more than 20 years, I've worked across different mediums from print to film. I've always focused on building visual systems and taking projects all the way from concept to production. That background is important because when AI entered my workflow, it didn't feel like something separate. This part of my work, print and brand, was really about developing strong visual concepts and bringing them to life across campaigns, key visuals, and editorial pieces. This is just a quick look at some of my projects across different formats to give you a feel for the visual language and production mindset I already had before diving into AI. From print and broadcast campaigns to studio set, design, and brand identity. And at the same time, I was working deeply in motion design. This is where storytelling, rhythm, animation, and composition really shaped my eyes, understanding how visuals move, how timing affects emotion, and how everything comes together in post-production. Just a small selection. Redefining creativity began for me in 2022 after working as an art director on the documentary Artificial Immortality. I was already thinking about what was coming. So when Midjourney launched that year, I jumped in right away. Beyond the usual redefining mood boards and content creation with AI was my first step before typography. I explored AI as a new way to create mood boards and visual concepts. The result, of course, weren't fully refined yet, but the potential was already there, and I was already using it for different projects. This is my first exploration doing more mood boards. For this first concept, I imagine a futuristic plant-based restaurant inspired by nature with flowing and interiors and organic materials. AI helped me build everything around that vision, from the tableware and drinks to the uniforms and the space itself. It was totally exciting to explore design in a completely new way and to have that option to go farther. But why typography? A graphic approach to AI exploration. Typography naturally offers a more graphic and design-oriented approach. Unlike exploring photography, fashion, or product imagery, letters are all about form, composition, rhythm, and structure, the core visual of design. This is where I really start pushing things visually by exploring rare and unconventional letter shape. I could move beyond simple generating image and start creating truly unique graphic visuals. As I kept experimenting, new creative possibilities started to open up. I learned how to guide the AI to produce designs that felt more surprising, intentional, and distinct. This was the moment everything clicked, and I started generating fonts and graphic images with truly distinctive looks. When I compared typography to other AI exploration, the difference became really clear. Letters allow me to create strong visual identities and systems. It kind of felt much closer to real graphic design work. It's the earliest explorations at the beginning. And of course, the real challenge that started when I began generating full alphabets. This one was of my first alphabet with Midjourney. Early versions of Midjourney struggled with certain letter shapes, so creating a complete and cohesive set wasn't easy at all. Today it is much, much simpler.
Can
With
I ask you? Can I ask you
Yeah.
what version of Midjourney were you using for these?
This one was the first. This one was version 3.
Okay.
Yes. Today it's much simpler with image, style reference, omni-reference, and nano banana. But back then it could take anywhere from 3 to 5 days, sometimes even more, with constant trial and error and intense work, I can say, like you said, since no one else was really doing this kind of work yet. I had to develop my own system, techniques, and little tricks along the way. Those challenges pushed me to think creatively and find ways to get more unique, dynamic, and visually rich results, which really helped shape my approach to AI typography. Like I said, these are the earliest versions, version 3.
Go through them a little bit slower so we
Oh,
get
yeah.
to see all the letters.
Oh, no, I went back too far. Okay,
Okay.
here. Christmas time, Lego.
In case you weren't watching her back then, everybody was just fascinated by what she was doing. And, just all kinds of comments and how did you do this, and just remarkable reactions to every time she would post things.
Yeah, because it was a totally different language and totally different from everyone else what we're doing in terms of photographic and stuff. And actually, it's a good time to say that it felt like it was cracking the code, especially when we started with version 4 and 5. Everything chipped again. And as pretentious as it sounds, cracking the code was exactly what it felt like at the time. Trying to push Midjourney. I'm sorry. Yeah. And most of the variation came from textures and material rather than the form itself. Essentially, the same letter shape repeat with different surface and treatment. That's what happened at that moment when they changed from version 3 to version 4 and 5. Like the letter, it was always respecting the same edges, but when you put a prompt, it only gives you that result of a texture on top of it. But the letter was always the same. Because of that, I couldn't rely on the typical prompt structure I was using before, so I have to change and reimagine again. This evolution pushed me to adapt and become more creative in how I approach typography generation. Each new version of the tool felt like learning it all over again, almost like having to break the code one more time. And this is still happening. Like every time they launch a new version, I have to redo everything and trying to recreate the letter in a different way, especially now that they want to do the letter exactly as it is. So it doesn't have that artistic shade that I'm trying to look. So it became a constant process of adjusting and rethinking how to create dynamic, unexpected letter forms while still keeping the originality and flow I was aiming for. Over time, my prompts evolved too, becoming more precise and intentional, like in this one, the high cuisine alphabet, I think this one took me like a week to just figure out how to recreate displays with a letter in it. And then actually I tried to do the same exercise with the new versions and I couldn't. I just couldn't. Like it didn't have that artistic feel. Another great example is the handbag typography, where the letter forms were completely integrated with the design, creating a fresh, innovative approach to typography. I still love this one. I think it's still really nice. After mastering individual letters, I moved into building full composition, combining typography in Photoshop. And with the introduction of the new generative field at that moment, that opened up even more possibilities. It allowed me to take the letter forms and seamlessly blend them into their overall layout, transforming a static typography into dynamic, integrated composition. This tool helped me enhance the flow between elements, ensuring that the typography didn't just sit on the page, but became an integral part of the design. At this stage, I realized I wasn't just creating letters, I was building a visual library. It wasn't only about shaping letters anymore. To really understand what AI could do, I explored lighting, surface, patterns, and graphic effects that could support my designs and mood boards. This helped me create richer visuals and gave me more control over the final look and feel for each concept. So I started creating abstract composition like this, focusing on depth, repetition, materials, and form. This helped me build a visual library I could later apply directly to my work and typography. And this is still part of my process. Like I'm still generating random image to create a library that I usually use them to recreate either a typography or a work I'm doing. AI evolves incredibly fast, and even when old prompts stop working in newer versions, they still inspire new ideas and designs. What really makes the difference is constantly exploring, adapting, and evolving along with the tool. But beyond just creating visual, this process helped me develop a deeper understanding of how different elements like texture, lighting, and composition come together to form a cohesive design. This constant cycle of learning, experimenting, and evolving has become central to my creative process. It's not just about the immediate results AI can generate, but how it continues to inspire future projects and allows me to push boundaries in ways I hadn't imagined before. As I continued to evolve, new tools began appearing, each offering different ways to approach design. So I started exploring beyond Midjourney. That was, I guess, around 2023. I consistently test emerging AI apps for videos, enhanced image, and image. Each app or model provides unique results in quality and style, particularly for graphic design and typography. What I find fascinating is that each application has a different prompt structure, especially when generating letters, since these models aren't typically built for typography. This exercise helped me understand the process and apply those insights to other images I want to create. This one, for instance, was with Monsavier in 2023. Then with Adobe Firefly, I could work from a kind of a blueprint, shaping and personalizing letterforms directly. I'm still using it in new versions, Firefly 4. Pimento also launched in 2025, and I took a campaign brief and trained a visual style that expanded into a full coffee shop brand, including a custom alphabet. So each platform always gives you something different, and it's kind of fun. And I think it's really important to explore all of them. Luma launched their mood boards in early 2025, and it was one of the first explorations. Even at that early stage, the quality and level of detail were already impressive. And words start to appear. I think it was before, but yeah, this one was a really good experiment with Luma. And then before Nano Banana, tools like Imagine Art already allow me to use reference image to transform letters into fashion inspired dress design, etc. So this one was really nice, and I was only able to do this with Imagine Art at that moment because it was the only model that gave me that option as a style refresh. And then finally, Nano Banana and Seed Dream came in, and now I can use all kinds of reference and turn them into very precise typography forms. And Seed Dream as well. And my latest exploration with Hicksville gave me a completely new perspective, which I'm still exploring because this is new, letting me tell a full visual story around a single letter using just one image with their new shot app. Here is a final compilation of additional letters. It's not chronological. I have so many letters. It would be fun just to count how many letters I have generate.
Just take your time going through them so everybody can study them.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. The habit to rush a little bit. This was version 4 and 5 of Midjourney. This one was with a style reference. This one too. These are from Firefly using designing a letter in Illustrator and then given a texture, which nowadays you can do this with Nano Banana also. But sometimes I'm still using Adobe Firefly, especially because sometimes some clients only allowed you to use that platform for legal stuff. This one was from Firefly as well. I love this one because it's a good example of how you can use reference code and to create a whole imagery around, a whole visual code around. This is Adobe Firefly as well. With the main image came from Midjourney, and then I apply it to the letter. This is Midjourney version 5. This is the first time with the Zoom tool with version, I think it was 5 or 6, I don't remember. I start with that X at the center and then zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. And I did a whole small short with this one. Midjourney as well. This one was with DAL-A at that moment. I think that was like 2 years ago. It was really nice and impressive as well. And I used a reference from Midjourney to recreate this. This is version 5, no version 6. This one were with the Niji 5, I think, or 6 probably. And this was another star reference. And finally, this is where things start getting really exciting for me. AI wasn't just creating a still image anymore. It was beginning to move. I could finally start testing motion, rhythm, and storytelling in new ways. AI video for motion graphic was still in its early stage, but it was evolving incredibly fast, and it still is. Each update brought better movement, cleaner transition, and more creative control. There is still a long road ahead, but the progress has been remarkable, improving every day, like we all know. And this is a quick look at how my AI typography animation evolved over the last 2 years, from early experiments to more refined motion and materials in around 35 seconds. So it's really compressed. And finally, I'm gonna give you a little bit of my work right now with AI. This is a small selection of the work since early 2023, starting with project like a glass wall illustration for Deloitte, at the university in Toronto, and continuing with my most recent campaigns as an AI design creative director at Silverside, including projects for Panasonic, Svedka, and Goodwill. Oh, sorry. Went the whole, okay, my fault. And thank you. And to wrap up, this journey has been about blending traditional design, thinking with new AI tools, especially through typography. AI became another layer in my creative workflow and helped me explore form, textures, motion, and storytelling in new ways. And thank you so much for being here. And I hope this presentation wasn't too short.
It's absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I think the thing that is so impressive is all of the variety of directions that you've taken letter forms. You know, there's so much creativity in what goes into the design of so many of these things. They're all over the lot. They're all different approaches to these things, which just is a demonstration of your tremendous capability. Somehow or other, I hit the hand button.
Yeah, I think also because since I've been working since, like, I think I touch every single field in design, like from VFX, 3D, motion, editorial, print, that I kind of reflect on my work, I think.
That's great. Eric?
Incredible work. Very, very impressive. Thank you for sharing. How the hell do you prompt with stuff like that? Just any clue for any of those things. Like, I wouldn't even begin to know where to start. So if you could just give any kind of insight on how you started or how you evolved, but like, how do you prompt for things like that? I have no clue.
Yeah, like actually evolved. It's been evolving and still is, but I'm still just using my tricks at the beginning because what I found is like usually as a graphic designer, you always look for reference. You always look like for visual reference, right? You go to Pinterest, you go to Behance or whatever. But when Midjourney start and I have to prompt, those visual reference didn't help me at all, right? So what I discover is like if I go to the letters itself, like if I read something from a gallery, if, I don't know, if I usually if you go to a magazine, a design magazine, they usually describe something of the design of that product or whatever. I love to like pick those words that you never use, those sentences that are very poetical. And that usually gave me a really, really good result because it's like working with the magic of the word instead of working with the magic of the visuals, which is a totally different approach as a graphic designer as well. So nowadays I'm more like a hunter of words or specific words. Like nowadays we can say there are tokens, but I'm usually like to recreate the whole sentences or sentences that it's like speak to me or something like that. So I don't when I'm prompting, I'm not usually look for I don't describe exactly what I want. I kind of try to describe the poetic part of it. So that's why I usually get results that are unique and difficult to recreate, I guess.
Eric, I want to say one thing, and this is something I've talked about anytime I've been talking about you joining us, Alexandria, is the fact that none of us or any of these programs could do letter forms if it wasn't for Alexandria and all of her efforts and all of the stuff that she trained these programs how to do these things, but also trained the people who created the programs to realize that this was something that somebody wanted to be able to do. And I can tell you that I have created letter forms by, like I did some letter forms where it was, I wanted certain key letters, like, would do with the start of a story where you'd have a graphic letter that started the paragraph, and I did some that were, I had specific letters I wanted, and I wanted them to be in the architectural style of Milan, Italy. And it did it because I was able to, I think I've even showed these to you at one time, Alexandria, but I was able to do it by explaining that that's what I wanted. And I think if you try to do this, you have an idea in your head and you want to try to do it, you will find that you will be able to come pretty close to what you're thinking about doing because of what Alexandria has done for all of us. I want to show you one other thing here. This was something that when Firefly first came out, they started doing letter forms as one of the things that you could do. And this was early Firefly, and this was their feeble attempt at creating things in the style of Alexandria. Just all of this stuff was, doing it with
Yeah, it was the letter with that texture on top. That's the part I didn't like it, and that's why
yeah.
I try to crack that code and to tell not to do that, like not edges, organic,
Right.
asymmetrical, that type of.
So that's what they were doing. They were using the letter form as a window to place objects into it, and
Exactly.
this was so far removed from what Alexandria was doing. Anyway, that gives you enough of a sense of what they were doing.
Night and day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the only way to say that you could create letter forms that like Alexandria does is say, Alexandria, would you make this letter form for me? You know, your thinking and your process is so unique. Again, I can't thank you enough for what you have done for all of us.
I'm going to try prompting saying in the style of Alexandria.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly. Barbara,
Yeah.
you had a comment.
Yeah, I've
Hi,
been
hi,
yeah, hi, Barbara.
hi, Alexandra. Amazing work. Thanks so much for sharing. I'm wondering though, as a fellow graphic designer, when, I would have dabbed into letterings a little bit myself with Midjourney and Fireflight, and you're absolutely right, Midjourney, as well as other softwares, other LM, are not made for lettering. Possibly Fireflight is still the one that was a trailblazer when it came out, but I'm wondering, do you have a typeface in mind when you're prompting? Because I've noticed that a majority of the lettering are consistent, say Helvetica or Arial, or are you giving that information when you're prompting, or you're letting the model
No, I'm
just do
actually
it?
no, yeah, I don't give any information because then it's gonna be like that like a letter with a textures on it. So I actually try to treat each letter as an sculpture or as a form, as a shape form.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
how
so
do you
yeah.
how did you manage to achieve consistency on the within the at the very beginning? Because that's one thing that I'm always been struggling with. You might get a beautiful letters or two even, but 21 or 26, depending on the alphabet, that's really hard thing to do.
Well, at the beginning, it was really, really hard because we didn't have that much control. We didn't have a character reference, for instance, at that moment. I don't know. I think character reference was after Omni reference.
Hmm.
With character reference, then it was really easy to manage to do the alphabet very consistent. But then with the style codes as well, the reference codes as well, it was
That
good.
really
Once I
helped.
find
Yeah.
a nice style, then I can apply that. But also at the beginning, what I was playing to is to be more precise in terms of the look and feel of the letter. So I will say the color, the composition, and the
Mm.
texture. And I keep that consistency throughout the whole prompt for each letter and just changing the letter and remixing as well. Remember that at that time we have the remix in Discord,
Yeah.
that it was really nice as well. It used to work really well. Uh, what else? But nowadays it's easier because now with Nano Banana, well,
It
and
is. Yeah.
it's much, much easier to get that same result.
Yeah. Thank you.
I don't think I will go back to Midjourney to have that trouble again
You
with
must have
that.
spent a huge amount of time at the beginning because I actually achieved quite great effects, but only with a couple of letters really, and that was that. Like that was really
But
that.
also what which helped me a lot at that time. Now remember, I used to put the if I want to do letter, for instance, what's really letter I was almost impossible. It didn't
Hmm.
understand.
I
And
agree.
letter L was really
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
So what I used to do, and I sometimes do it right nowadays, is like I used to put at the beginning, I don't know, a shape of letter I, and then in
Hmm.
the middle of the prompt, I put again letter I, and then at the end of the prompt, I put again letter I.
Yeah, and then
So
don't use A, B, C, D
So repeating
as a
that
negative. Yeah,
letter I throughout the whole prompt, like repeating, like you have to do this letter and again, it actually worked really well at that time. And sometimes I usually do it when I see
did you
that this
always work with capital letters?
well, yeah, Midjourney is always capital letters. Like, and even if you say lowercase, it wouldn't give you lowercase. It was more
Yeah,
like a random stuff. And
yeah.
still nowadays the same, like it won't give you Sometimes it does, but it's not very.
It's a
It
much
doesn't.
harder. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't give you the same lowercase every time, right? It's sometimes for D give you the uppercase and sometimes give you the
Yeah.
lowercase. It will depend. But now I don't rely as much in Midjourney to create alphabets, of course. It's more like Nano Banana and Adobe Firefly in case the client doesn't is not allowed to use the
Of
rest of
course. Yeah. Of course.
the
Thank you.
model.
Thank you very much.
The most impressive thing to me is the huge different directions you've gone with all these letter forms. You know, the subject matter of the letter forms is so diverse and fun. I mean, there's just a whole lot of fun in all of this stuff. You know, and fun and magical. I mean, I can't think of enough adjectives to say how wonderful the stuff is that you're done and continue to do. I am just very glad that I have known you for this long of a period of time, that I've been able to watch what you've done and the evolution of all this stuff, and grateful to have you join us today. So,
No, quite the opposite. Thank you so much for inviting me. I
well,
hope everyone enjoyed the presentation and took a little bit of it.
yeah, it's just great. If anybody else have any further comments? If not, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's coming up. Next week, on the 13th, the main event 150 is an interview with Christian Ortiz discussing his program Justice AI GPT, as well as we'll discuss people's and AI's biases and what we have to do to protect that, to protect each person's rights and have the proper respect. I think this is a very difficult subject in light of the way things are currently going on. We have a whole lot of us and them, and we have a whole lot of setting up various groups of people as the enemy. Also, I've invited a number of people who have been writing about things like biases towards women in hiring and age discrimination and various things like that that are all part of this subject. So I expect to have a very meaningful discussion with all the people that are going to be participating that want to express their points of view on this stuff. And I certainly invite all of you to be ones to do the same thing. On the February 20th, the main event, 151, Margarita Barreto and Nina Sabina, in conjunction with AICC and Margarita's CIA, which is a training group in Portugal, will demonstrate the new program, FLOVA. It's a program out of Singapore. February 27th, the main event, 152, we'll see everyone's results from accepting the Big Al's Big AI Challenge of their avatars competing in the Winter Olympics. And since we're showing sports, Deanna Leonard and I will be tag teaming as sports announcers that day, plus everybody to discuss their experiences with the challenges. What I decided after last week's episode, where we had a whole lot of delays with people getting their screen sharing set up and having some difficulty getting their sound and everything, what I'm going to do is I will show all of them. I'm posting everybody's results in my Facebook profile page. And so I will scroll through them. Deanna and I will be announcing them and commenting about it, but also each person is then invited to talk about their experience in the event that they've presented. March 6th, the main event, 153. This is something that we talked about a little bit last week, and I decided let's do it. Let's do the show. I'm inviting everyone to discuss what they feel are the must-have AI programs and why we and we want to hear from all of you about this. I think we will find that it differs between what you're trying to do, what level you're at, and whether you're experimenting and having fun with it, or whether you're applying this to business or whatever. But there is so many programs out there, and Alexandria, I was saying last week, I spend close to $500 a month on subscriptions to these different programs. Some of them you subscribe to because you want to try them out, and then you try them out and you pay it, and then you get sidetracked onto other things, and meanwhile you're paying monthly for that thing that you've only used once, So I recently just ended my Pica subscription, which is $95 a month, and I literally used it one time. But anyway, and then I'm skipping 1 week and going on to March 20th. The main event, 155, is going to be an interview with Alwyn Velasquez and looking at his great AI work. So we've got a lot of good things coming up. If anybody has an idea for the episode 154, please talk to me. I'll be more than happy to work things out with you. Well-deserved comments, and again, thank you so much for doing this. I just have no words to say how much I am glad that I have followed you through this whole process and continue to consider you a friend. And after doing this today, I consider you a good friend.
Yeah, exactly. No, thank you so much. And to be so supportive all the time with your comments and everything. It's amazing. Yeah, I love it.
Hey, Big Al.
Yes, sir.
I have talking about subscriptions and platforms that you use or don't use anymore. Are you still using Musavir?
I actually got rid of it, which was kind of crazy because I was only paying $5 a month for that one. But,
wow, because I paid $20.
Well, that's because I helped them launch the product on the main event.
But they haven't updated anything in the longest time. And
I know. And I can't help but think that these programs are going to disappear because they can't all survive. And some of them, if they've got worthwhile things, may get bought up, and other ones will just disappear because of lack of ability to keep up with everybody else.
Yeah, I like their consistent avatar feature. I thought that was pretty good, but they haven't updated in a long time. Their Discord channel is pretty much inactive and has been for a long time. No updates or anything like that. So I don't know what's going on with them. I'm probably gonna unsubscribe to them as well.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him for a while, but one of the things that I liked using it for, because it is out of Dubai, I found it had a heavy Middle Eastern preference to women models and stuff. When I wanted to have a Middle Eastern look, I would get very strong, good images that way. Okay, well, again, thank you, everybody. It's been recorded, and we will do some editing, and then we will put it on my YouTube channel, and I will let everybody know when it's available.